everyone, welcome to the QA Insights. Today we are going to discuss about what is the SDLC life cycle. So SDLC means a software development life cycle, which is the most important phase of the software testing and the software development life cycle. So what is the definition of the software development life cycle? So SDLC is the process of the detailed plan which is used by a software industrial to plan, design, develop and the testing and the maintaining a high quality of the software. The life cycle methodology that defines some process which are followed by the develop a high quality software. SDLC is to define all the tasks required to develop and maintain a software. So this is the life cycle, which is a collection of the process which are followed by the develop to a software, typically divided into the 6 phases. So basically this SDLC life cycle has the different 6 phases. Based on these phases, the software is going to be developed. First phase is the analysis phase. So into the analysis and the planning phase, they are gathering all the requirement and creating a specific document and make the document ready for the next phase. So the next phase is the design phase. We will deep dive into all the phases in the later slides. The next step of is the development. In the development phase, the actual development is going to be kicking and start the developing the product. The next phase is the testing. On the testing phase, whatever the product is developed, we are testing based on the requirement and the user perspective. The next phase is a deployment. In the deployment phase, the actual product, once it is signed off, and we will get the sign off as the product is deployed as per the requirement, we will deploy into the user environment. And the last phase of this SDLC life cycle is the maintenance. So in the maintenance life cycle, the software is going to be maintained after it's deployed to the end user environment. So let's deep dive into all the phases. So the first phase of the SDLC life cycle is the requirement analysis phase. It is the first step of the SDLC life cycle in which all the necessary information are collected from the customer to deploy a software as per the requirement. The objective of this stage is getting an input from all the stakeholders, including customer, salespeople, industrial expert and the market survey. These information are used to be plan and a draft of the project. In this phase, mainly focus of the project manager and the meeting with the user are held to determine the requirement of the users, like how the system will be used, who will be the end user, what will be the purpose of the product, what the system should input data from the users and the output of the process. The phase give a clear picture of what we are going to be built. Once the requirement collection is clearly understood, the SRS document is generated. SRS is a software requirement specific document. All the important information is written into the SRS document. This document should be thoroughly understood by the developer and also it will be reviewing by the customer for the future reference. So this document has all the detailed information about the requirements. Planning should be clear, define the scope of the purpose of the application. It plot the course and provides the term to effectively create a software. The process is not completed until the plan is appropriate. In this step, the term defined and gathering the requirement of the new software from the client and determine the resource required and the cost estimation as well. It's also involve the risk of the detail and create a SRS document. So the planning phase also include the following aspect. of the project and the management skills. So it's include the schedule of the project, planning capacity, cost estimation, resource allocations as well. These all are the information and need to be included into the SRS document, and it's a part of the requirement and the planning analysis. Who are going to be perform this all the things? So product owner, project management, and the business analyst, or sometimes the CTO also involved in this phase, and this all are the information are getting ready in the analysis phase. So the next phase of this SDLC life cycle is architecture designing. So once the requirement of the software has been verified and initial the scope, the requirement and the resources expected to be needed and established during the analysis and the planning phase, then the design phase kicks in. The main aim of the design stage is to be build architecture of the project. The SRS is used to refer to come out the base architecture of the product, and that should be developed. The main aspect of the design phase is architecture, user interface, platform, performing, security. So these all are the main phase of the design phase. On architecture, specific programming language, industrial practice, and the overall design, it's going to be templated. User interface, which means the UI, they are defining the how the software responds to the input and the output. Platforms, so the different kinds of the platform, what kind of the platform going to be used, such as Apple, Windows, Android, Linux, or so on. Sometimes if it is a web application, then what kind of the web applications are going to be used. The most popular platform is right now the cloud. Programming language, what kind of the programming language are going to be used by the developer to develop this specific software, those are also included in this phase. Security, most important part of the while developing a software, it's a security. How the encrypted our software, that's the most important. It's a password protected or not. So most the security phase are included in this phase, in the design phase. The next phase of the SDLC life cycle is the development. After completing a design phase, next step is to develop a software, which is also called the implementation phase. So in the implementation phase, actual development of the software is start. Create the high level documentation, low level documentation, which all are created by the developers. They include all the requirements and how they are going to start different with the programming languages such as C++, Java, HTTP, or anything else. They are included all in this documentation. Once the coding process include many other tasks, many developers need to brush up their skills and work on the team to finning and the fixing the error glitches is critical. So they have to be very particular about the things related to the programming language, programming things, and what kinds of the skills they need to be for this one. Before completing all the process, developer create a replica of the product into the environment. So basically they are creating a different environment to check whether the all the replications of the environment is working as expected from the customer side and based on the requirements. So that's the most important part of the development life cycle phase, and after everything is get completed, we get the sign off, the product will go live into the customer environment. After that, the fourth phase of the software development life cycle is the testing. So after the implementation phase is done, the tester get involved into this phase and perform the testing on the actual software that was developed. So Based on the requirement, tester create a test plan, test scope, test cases, test scenarios, and everything, and they will execute their test cases on the software. So the aim of the tester to find the bugs, error, failures into the developed system and properly verify whether the application work accordingly to the user requirement or not. The process is repeated until all the requirement has been tested and all the bugs or the error are fixed, and finally the software or the application is ready to use into the user environment. And when we give the sign off, developer deploy that the product into the user environment. So in the testing phase, the different kinds of the testings are involved. So mainly the testings are involved is the performance testing. Performance testing is done to check the software speed, scalability. These all kinds of the condition are included into the performance testing. And then it's the functional testing. So functional testing verify that the software meets the requirement. It's functionally working fine as per the requirements. Security testing. Security testing is the most important uh, part of the testing, which is identify the potential vulnerability and the weakness of the software. Then the unit testing. Unit testing involves the unit or the component of the software. Usability testing, which is very important as well, to be checked the software is a user friendly and the overall the user's experience as well. Expectation testing. All term end users beta testing, application testing or field testing, this is the final testing stage to the tester if the software product deliver what is promised. So this is all are the important part of the testing phase, and we will deeply go into all the testing and how the testing going to be performed and what are the different kinds of testing in the later video. So this is the high level information about the testing phase. The next phase of the development life cycle is the deployment. So after the everything tested, we get the sign off and everything is done in the testing phase, then the next step is this product has been ready to deploy and the properly release into the market. So this is the deployment phase where the developer deploy the product into the market, or we can say it's a user environment. Sometimes the product has been deployed as a business organizations and the release product first time in a limited segmented and also tested into the business environment as well. Then later on, if there is no issue comes up and if anything need to be fixed, then from that phase the maintenance get take part of in this one and the developer fix that issue and again deploy into the user environment. So the maintenance is the last phase of the SDLC life cycle. So if you are following the waterfall structure of the software development life, waterfall is also the one of the methodology that the some of the companies are using. Then this phase is follow. However, the most of the industry are moving towards the agile methodology in the software development life cycle, where the maintenance is only stage for the further improvement. So currently, most of the companies are using the agile methodology. In the maintenance stage, user may find a bug and error what were missed in the earlier testing phase. These bugs need to be fixed for a better user experience and redundancy. In some case, this can lead to going back to the first stage of the software development life cycle. So this is the last phase of the software development life cycle where the maintenance is important, and this all are the testing is done by the UAT or the testers, and then we will move forward to the actual software development phase, life cycle phase. So thank you for watching this video. Hope you like it and follow for more on the QA Insights links. Thank you everyone.